Professor Gino Malacarne from Bologna. The title of the presentation is The House and the Architecture of the City.
Good morning. Thank you all for the invitation. I am very pleased to be here with you again and to participate in this architecture seminar that has an important scientific tradition. I believe that architecture is inseparable from the city. Leon Battista Alberti quoting, "The city is like a large house, and the house a small city." I also would like to remark that for me Aldo Rossi's book, L'architettura della città, and the heritage of urban studies produced in Italy continue to represent my cultural reference. The image that will be shown without my commentary are all projects of mine, developed over time following the idea of making architecture for the city. The city is to me the theater where the human events take place, and that has always been the center of my work. Where designing houses or residential neighborhood, I have never stopped building cities by fragment. In fact, I have tried to build places for people's lives, collective spaces, characterized by an idea of architectural ensembles, not sophisticated design objects to define the city faces. Quoting Fernand Pouillon, ensembles are more important than isolated masterpieces because they play a part in people's daily lives. Believing in the architecture of the city certainly does not mean thinking of the reconstruction as objective in the city form in general. The current city is a contradictory, complex place. It is an open work that definitely cannot aspire to any kind of unity. The contemporary city is not homogeneous, but discontinuous, and is made up of parts characterized as a whole by a fragmentary conformation. The city of our time is not just one place, but many places. Intervening in the contemporary city doesn't mean aspiring to found or refound cities, but to intervene on those places that need overwriting. A stratification to endow with character and meaning by proposing an architecture that is grafted onto and overlaps the existing city, thereby bringing it new meanings. To talk about the architecture of the city, I like to introduce the term of urban landscape, a term borrowed from French geographers Georges Chabot and from those who recognize the city as a reference and foundation of architecture. For me, moreover, the definition of urban landscape indicates the possibility of building places with distinctive character, fragments, part of the city, endowed with finiteness within an open work, within in the city itself. This is a necessary aspiration to try to reconstruct an idea of the city, even by significant fragment, able to give shape to the urban shapelessness. The project developed in recent years have always been oriented toward an architecture that is able to propose redevelopment / regeneration / reconstruction project for marginal, peripheral and abandoned urban places toward an architecture able to propose new centrality, for the suburbs. Consequently, for any redevelopment project, it becomes necessary to foster a new relationship between collective places and residential areas. In this sense, the public side of housing belongs to everyone, and not only to those who live there, precisely because it contributes to the scene of the city and therefore demands civil architecture. This means proposing a polycentric model of the city for large and medium-sized cities at least. The urban suburbs are essentially an economic and social problem, but architectural design cannot allot by giving a form to the urban formlessness. Only architecture can build the condition, places for the development of a dignified urban life. As Henri Lefebvre wrote, urban life, urban society, in a word, the urban cannot go without a practical material base, a morphology. The city, according to Lefebvre, is an oeuvre, closer to a work of art than to a simple material product. There is no oeuvre without a regulated succession of acts and action, of decision and conduct, messages and code. Nor can an oeuvre existing without things, without something to shape, without practical material reality, without a nature, a countryside, an environment. This means, without a doubt, favoring through the definition of form, alternative urban process to the sole urban practice of standards, thus able to recall, even if by fragment for significant parts, to theme of urban centrality, the value and richness of the overall form of the city and, why not, the identity of places. I therefore strongly believe in a disciplinary autonomy of the architectural which, however, take architects who are civilly and politically committed. Places that have lost their urban role or might never have and one. Look forward for important changes. Finally, places that are awaiting substantial transformation in a quest for new uses and new formal identities. Our task should be to propose a form for these places in cities. The synergistic relationship between the project of the house and its relationship with the city has had over the year toward design research that therefore seek to development around the new town idea, the urban suburbs, proposing a kind of architecture that is grafted onto and overlaps the existing city, not only in the direction of correction, but also intervening in antithesis by contrast, thus with new meaning. The house represents a shelter for human life, but in its construction is determined places, the city public and collective spaces. In its construction, therefore, it becomes scena fissa delle vicende umane, Aldo Rossi quoting, fixed scene of the events of man. The house offers a public side, the exterior, and a private side, the interior. The public side belongs to everyone and not only to those who live there and need civil architecture. I am interested in a design experience ascribable within a civil horizon of architecture, in which we can recognize and affirm that living is possible only as a collective space. The design of a residential building therefore focuses on the role of the urban project and on the meaning which residential settlements can take on in the processes of regeneration and transformation of urban areas. Trying to recover the generality of a social theme and the same time architectural theme is the idea of la casa per tutti, home for all, Elio Vittorini quoting. The projects I'm presenting envisage a rebirth for part or city that are lacking and needy. This project proposed the construction of places that would like to be significant and which aspire to become new urban centrality, point of reference, keystone in the suburb of the city of our time, in areas where urban form is being lost. In the city understood as an artifact, the plane is realized using architecture, the only possibility for an urban project, which contemplates as a final result a significant form of the city, endowed with its own character. Such projects are then built as similar pieces of city. They are rooted in the built city and the imagery to which they refer. The ability to imagine figures and spaces derives from a knowledge of historical cities. The city, in fact, a place of common value and theater for where human life takes place, in the custodian of a tradition of urban forms, forged by time and the life of humankind. I am therefore sharing the project and idea of cities that refer to no places, which have been transcribed, reinvented, and found in project, recalling with Cesare Pavese, lo stupore vero è fatto di memoria e non di novità. True amazement is made of memory, not of novelty. The refers through urban analysis to type and figures that derive from history, also contributes to making urban artifacts recognizable and identifiable. Project establish a relationship with history, to be understood as generative, not as imitative. And that is built through an analogical process, as happens in the best work of architecture is the precedents and historical references. They can be glimpses which feed the imagination, they themselves produce. Evocative images are in fact only necessary to the principle of recognition and identity making of places. Sorry. The architecture of the city is the urban theater of the civil life. The urban scene space is therefore an essential component of the urban project and is a figure which recurs in my work as an architect. This component requires careful attention to the implementation and representation of the project. In fact, if the city is the theater of public life, is the words of architecture that make the urban landscape intelligible in terms of culture and experience. Thank you very much. Lasciamo finire.
Bardzo dziękujemy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor.